Love-hate pass catcher quarterbacks. That would be Jayden Daniels, by the way, on a little bit of a pivot there. Christmas Day to him is about the NBA, but the weekend after Christmas, guys, for us, is about Jayden Daniels, Matthew. He tops the love list. It's not rocket science here. He's got 29 points per game over his last 4. He's been a superstar in year 1.
When you do it against the Eagles, you can do it against almost any team at all. And certainly that includes Lawrence Jackson's Atlanta Falcons. Get this, Connor, since week 5, Lawrence Jackson's Atlanta Falcons, right? Lawrence Jackson's Atlanta Falcons have allowed the 5th highest passer rating. They've also allowed the 7th most fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. During that stretch, Lawrence Jackson's Atlanta Falcons are allowing touchdown passes at the highest rate in the National Football League. Again, Lawrence, I don't know why the Falcons went out this offseason and didn't acquire a defensive-minded head coach. Feels like that would have been something to focus on. You guys didn't want to do it. It is what it is. Anyway, I have Jayden Daniels. After Lamar has been removed from my ranks, Jayden Daniels is QB2 for me this week.
Oh, man, I don't even know if the Falcons should show up to play. It seemed like the Commanders, they've already won here, huh? I don't know.
Well, offensively, for sure. You're going to need Michael Penix Jr. to bring that big Penix energy. You know, you're going to have the Commanders, get some Penix envy if you want a chance in this game, Lawrence. Yes.
Look, Jayden Daniels, past 4 games, multiple touchdown passes, at least 200 passing yards, and you'll say, oh, well, that's 200 passing yards. That's nothing. Well, 3 out of his last 4 games, he's rushed for at least 65 yards. So he's going to give you the production there. And this is true, Matthew. You could do it against the Eagles. You damn sure could do it against the Atlanta Falcons. So I don't think it's any reason, not to love Jayden Daniels any week. Not 3 weeks ago, not 8 weeks ago, and certainly not now after you saw what he was able to do after throwing 2 interceptions against the Eagles. The last interception should have put them out the game, but no. Jayden Daniels said, no, this is my time to shine. And I think he gets the big stage here on NBC Sunday night, and it's a chance for him to do it again. We love it.
Jayden Daniels, not a surprise on the love list, but how about Brock Purdy cracking into the top 5 quarterbacks, guys? And with this one, listen, over the past 4 weeks, Detroit is allowing a league-high 26.2 points per game to quarterbacks. When you look at their IR list right now on defense, it's bigger than their practice squad, Matthew. They are running out of bodies in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, like they're so beat up, and we referenced this earlier in the show. It's like it's a high over/under, right? It's north of 50 this week, and part of it is again because we think 2 good offenses against 2 defenses. I mean, the Niners defense has been getting better, but the Lions, they're beat up over the last month. They're 30th in pass defense since week 13. They're just 19th in pressure rate, so they're not getting home. And by the way, this is what's crazy. They're 19th in pressure rate, but they have the 3rd highest blitz rate. I mean, so they're trying to bring pressure and they just can't get home as well. And so given the high over under nature of this game, how beat up the Lions are specifically in the secondary and the question marks around the Niners running backs. I do like Garendo if he's healthy, but I think this is a big Brock Purdy game. I think, Kittle, Jennings, even Debo have good games against the Lions in one of the highest scoring one of the highest scoring games on the slate in week 17. At the moment, it's 50.5, which is the highest on DraftKings.
Purdy in the top 5. Lawrence, how about Bo Nix sneaking into the top 10? And for good reason here. The second half of the season, the Bengals are allowing the 2nd most points per game to quarterbacks.
Yeah, you said it. We're going against the Bengals here, who've allowed the 4th most yards per pass attempt to quarterbacks. And now we know Bo Nix can get it done with his legs, but he's shown in games here and there this season, throughout the course of the season, that when there's a solid matchup, he can get it done through the air as well. So another big game here for both Cincinnati and the Broncos. And when you look at the Bengals on the other side of things, you have the Bengals who have have one of the best offenses in the league with one of the best quarterbacks and who is playing like a receiver who's playing like the best wide receiver, they're going to score. There's no doubt about whether or not the Bengals are going to score. It took them a little while last week against the Browns, but they eventually got it going. So the Broncos are going to have to keep up with that. I expect Bo Nix to having to throw more. He'll be scrambling, he'll be throwing. So it's nice to have him on the love list this week for that reason.
Some others receiving votes here, Matthew. Justin Herbert's got the Patriots. Anthony Richardson has the Giants. For that reason, both guys make the top 12 out of QBs. And then right inside the top 20 is an improving Bryce Young, Matthew. He's got that Bucs secondary that's really struggled all season.
Yeah, they're 30th in pass defense this year. They've allowed the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks. And very quietly, since the Week 11 bye, Bryce Young is averaging over 18 fantasy points per game in those 5 weeks since coming out of the bye. I think he's very viable in 2 quarterback leagues this week.
Let's look at the hate list, guys. This is headlined by Tua Tagovailoa. Lawrence, the formula has been pretty simple with Tua, when to kind of doubt him or get nervous. On the road this season, he's averaging under 14 points per game.
Yeah, and, you saw last week against the 49ers, their running game got going again for the Dolphins. So if you can, especially in a game where it's going to be a bad game environment, the over-under's 40, that's the third lowest, which is actually weird for a game with the Dolphins offense, but that mostly has to do with the Browns offense. They're simply just trying to win this game. And when you're out there in Cleveland this time of the year, you want that run game to get going. Achane did exactly that last week. So I expect them to kind of lean more on that. They'll obviously pass the ball, but you got Jalen Waddle still banged up. You only got Tyreek Hill out there. You'll have Jonnu Smith over the middle. I don't foresee one of those 350-yard, 4-touchdown games just on game environment alone for Tua.
Yeah, looking ahead in Cleveland for that day, it's expected to be around 50 degrees, but most likely going to rain. So like you said, Lawrence, the environment not ideal for Tua or either offense, really, Matthew. And then Jordan Love is also on the hate list. He just sneaks inside the top 20 quarterbacks at quarterback 18. Here's the thing, Matthew, that's been very sneaky with Jordan Love. In fantasy, we expect him to be a gunslinger, to throw it. Since week 9, he doesn't have a game with more than 28 pass attempts.
Yeah, they've gone run heavy recently, and it's been working for the Packers. So why would they go against that? It's worth noting that Jordan Love is 19th in fantasy points per pass attempt against the blitz. Okay, he's 19th in fantasy points per attempt against the blitz. And I mention that because no team in the NFL has a higher blitz rate than the Minnesota Vikings. By the way, Vikings defense playing very well recently. Last 4 weeks, they're giving up touchdown passes at the 3rd lowest rate. They give up the 5th fewest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So I'm nervous about Love in this game because of lack of volume, and he's bad against the blitz and how well the Vikings defense is playing. If there's something to hang your hat on, if you're forced to start Jordan Love, and like I'm in a finals where I might have to because Jalen Hurts might not play this week, right? Worth noting the Eagles. Very quickly, the Eagles signing Ian Book to the practice squad. So maybe that's a sign that, hey, they're nervous about Hurts' availability. So if there's something to sort of try to talk yourself into Jordan Love, which I'm trying to do, it's this. The last time he played the Vikings, now it was way back in week 4, but the last time he played the Vikings, 339 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a monster fantasy day. He also threw 3 picks. And again, Love and the Packers offense playing much differently, and the Vikings defense playing better than it was week 4, but at least it's a high over-under total. So, there's some signs of positivity, but I have Jordan Love outside my top 15 this week because of concerns of volume and pressures against the blitz.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.